back to the Sogcast. I'm Patrick.
I'm Matt.
I'm Garrett.
And I'm Owen.
The Mariners have just advanced.
Woohoo!
On to the next round,
yeah.
baby.
Oh, yeah.
Beat the Blue Jays in 2 games, and now they're going up against the Astros up next. What of a series against the Blue Jays?
Dude, today was crushing and also awesome.
It was, down by 7 runs in the 5th, like late inning heroics, just so much different stuff striking at the right time. This game was definitely weird pitching matchups, different guys coming through at different times, but holy shit, on to the next one. Mariners advance.
God, it was so dramatic.
It was. There was times where we considered throwing in the towel. We all went to a bar and watched the game, and
Not me.
yeah, you had to work.
It's okay, I left early.
I can't believe you did that.
I know. Sorry, they were getting their ass beat by 1-7 in like the 4th inning, and I was like, I could really just listen to this game at home,
Yeah.
And then I get home and we're like just catching up. We're getting updates, and I'm just like, I made a mistake.
Man, I'm so jealous. I wanted to be at the bar hanging out with you guys. I had to work.
It was insane. But yeah, like we all closed out our tabs. We were like ready to go, but we were like, all right, let's get one more beer, play a round of pool, and just like see how this inning plays out. And sure enough, everything started clicking and right back at it. And we never left. And the whole, it was electric in that bar. It was insane.
All right. Let's start with game 1. Yesterday, Luis Castillo pitched a gem.
Absolutely. Beautiful baseball. Beautiful pitching.
Dominant pitching.
And that's what we got him for. That is the reason why the Mariners were able to shed some of that farm talent at the All-Star break to get an ace, and you have him pitch in the first playoff game in 20 years, and what does he do? Ace shit. Shuts it down. Beautiful performance by Luis Castillo.
This was his assignment, and he got high marks, dude.
A+. He shut down for 7
Seven and
Seven
a
and
third.
a third.
and a third. That's amazing. And then we had Munoz come in and just shut it down for the rest of the way. We didn't have to worry about the rest of the matchups because he's so dominant.
Yeah, Munoz had them lost with his slider and his four seam. You could tell Vladdy saw one of the sliders, and he looked at him, and he's just like, what am I supposed to do with this? How do I
Yeah,
see
man.
that? How do I drive that? And Munoz is just so clutch. I love Munoz.
Yeah, at the beginning of the year, we saw Munoz have his struggles trying to find his slider and his fastball, and
100%.
he's always been trying to tunnel those pitches in the same off the same arm angle, the same slot. So to the batter, you can't tell what's coming out of the hand. It's the same thing, and one of them takes off and goes 1.5 feet off the plate, and one of them just rides up over your hands every time, and there's no way you're catching up to 102 if you think a slider's about to break. Like, he has 2 pitches, and he'll fool you every time.
And the pitching isn't the only reason we won our first game of that series. You got to give it up to the bats.
Honestly, jumping on him early, the pitcher's name starts with an M. I'm spacing real quick.
Manoah.
Yeah, it's a playoff start for him. He's got the jitters, so he wanted to attack the zone early, and the Mariners jumped all over it. Their first 4 batters of the game, it was 3-0 Mariners. And that's the kind of stuff you got to do. And yeah, the bats were kind of cold for the rest of the game, but with Luis Castillo pitching the gem that he did and the Mariners jumping off to such a hot start, that's all you needed. And yeah, real props for the Mariners not letting those jitters get to them and just come out swinging the bats for game 1 and getting that early run support for Castillo, who then just shut it down the whole rest of the way. Beautiful performance in game 1.
Yeah, Alek Manoah is kind of known as the guy who is a vibes guy. He'll take in the energy and harness it and be that guy. He'll be on the mound and do a little shimmy, and he's kind of that guy for them. He's a new ace for the Blue Jays, and he didn't necessarily thrive off the energy. I think he was nervous coming into this wild card round, and he let it show. He hit Julio right off the bat. He was letting it fly. It ran inside super hard, and
He almost hit Ty France.
Ty, yeah.
Then he hit
And-
Julio again later. Or maybe it wasn't him. Julio got hit twice.
Said it, yeah.
So, I mean, Manoah is a guy, he did settle down and, like, deal for quite a few innings there, but right off the bat, he didn't have it going, and he really needed it.
Yeah, it's crazy to see the comparisons between Castillo and Manoah. You know, Castillo was ice cold that whole game, and Manoah, who, to his credit, had only given up like 4 runs, I think, in September.
Yeah, going into that game, he had only given up 4 runs in the month of September.
Yeah, and then he gives up 4 runs in the first 2 innings, 3 innings.
It's pretty devastating for him, you know.
Yeah.
He is a guy who feeds off of the energy and vibes, and if if he starts getting beat down, of course his team's around him and supports him fully. He knows that his offense can bang. But with a guy like Luis Castillo on the mound, he was slicing and dicing. He was locating his pitches every pitch. You know, he didn't take a pitch off. Every one of them was 100% focus and 100% just throwing darts, man. Just every pitch was foolish. I loved it. He's throwing 100 miles an hour.
Yeah, I was going to piggyback on that. Castillo was definitely feeling it. His velocity was through the roof. I mean, he's already a hard thrower, but you could tell that he was thriving in that playoff atmosphere. I mean, touching 100 like it was nothing. And then you go Munoz after that, who's also hitting 102. Like,
Good luck.
the Blue Jays hitters didn't have a chance to rest. Like any changeup they saw was also like 87. Like everything was just breezing.
Yeah, game 1 was incredible. Shut him out. Blue Jays put up a big fat donut.
And what's crazy is they have such a high power lineup, and they showed it today in game 2.
Oh my God. Yeah, let's move right into game 2.
Yeah,
I think
like-
that's pretty good for game 1. But today, fresh off of game 2, holy shit.
I mean, and you know, we've talked about this all year, how the team doesn't give up. It's been one point we've really hammered home throughout all the episodes of this podcast, is that the team doesn't give up. There was so many times where it'd be the 9th inning and yeah, they might get the loss, but it went down to the final at bat. The guys weren't quitting. They were really trying. And today, it was so easy to throw in the towel. And as fans, we were kind of talking about it like, you know what? Let's put in position players to pitch. Like, just get through this game, whatever, save your bullpen for tomorrow. But props to the Mariners. They didn't play it like that. They were like, no, we're going to come back. We're going to fucking win this game. And they did. I mean, down 7 in the second half of the game. It's the 5th, 6th inning. You're down by 7 runs. And to just steady battle back and climb and get that W just really shows how special this Mariners team is. It's not a fluke.
Yeah, my head was in my hands for a lot of that.
Yeah, let's talk about the first half of this game. What went wrong? Why
Robbie Ray.
was it 8-1 in the 5th?
Robbie Ray is I think, definitely part of the problem. He gave up, 4 runs, 5 runs?
I think it was
4.
like 4 runs in.
Like 4 innings.
I don't even think he got an out in the 4th inning. I think he gave up another home run in the 4th inning and they pulled him. So I think his final stat line was 3 innings and 4 runs.
I remember looking up and I was like, wait, that's a home run? This isn't a replay from Teoscar's home run earlier?
Oh,
Because
yeah.
We didn't
because
even
he hit his
see
second
that
home run.
pitch.
It must have been the first pitch of the inning or like second pitch where I was like, I just looked up and I was like, there's no way. Like, wow, Teoscar has been awesome all through this last month too. He's been on fire, and I actually love that guy. Watching him play last year was exciting too. He's a young, fast, exciting dude. He puts the game in motion. He'll score runs, dude. He'll catch a ball in the outfield. He'll steal a base. He's kind of like a Julio type guy.
But yeah, I was going to say, I mean, that is what went wrong at the first half of that game was definitely Robbie Ray getting tuned up. And we kind of had a split in opinion on whether Robbie Ray should have even got the start today. I know Owen was pretty outspoken that he didn't want Ray getting the start. Garrett, I believe you also were kind of questioning it. I personally believe that it made sense for Robbie Ray to get the start today. One, he was the Cy Young Award winner last year. Plus, he was on the Blue Jays last year, so he knows the team. He knows the stadium. He knows the playoff atmosphere on paper, it makes perfect sense for your number 2 starter to pitch in the second game of the playoffs. I like the move. It obviously didn't work out, and it's something Ray needs to clean up in the playoffs, especially. But I think it was the right move. It just didn't pan out.
Yeah, my defense, Ray won the Cy Young last year, but he has pitched, I don't think, up to that level at all. I don't think he's touched that
I
level
agree
at
with
all.
that.
And, you're right. He's familiar with the order. He should have been pitching a little bit more carefully, I think. He just didn't give a shit, I don't think. He was throwing, high curves. He was kept, thrown to the same zone. I think he threw the same pitch to Teoscar twice for those home runs. And I don't know. I look at Ray, and he's almost like Marco 2.0. It seems like he gives up the lead early and then does settle down, but it's you already gave up the lead. What's the point? And then we see Gilbert and Kirby, who are these dark horse. They've had phenomenal seasons, and maybe it'll change next year. But right now, they're killing it. I would just say put Kirby in or Gilbert in and save Ray for another game.
I was thinking kind of the same thing. I think it would have been great to see Kirby start this game. Maybe even Logan Gilbert. But yeah, man, Robbie Ray really fucking Marco'd it today hard.
Yeah, I definitely agree that he marcoed it, but again, the playoffs are a different beast, and you don't want to throw a rookie or even a rookie in Kirby or a sophomore like Gilbert. They aren't used to that kind of pressure, and so it makes sense to have the veteran with the postseason experience get that start.
Yeah, I'm kind of with Patrick where Robbie Ray's the guy who has the experience. That was his home field last year. He knows what it feels like there, what the atmosphere can be. He's the guy with the most K potential, but he has to do it right? So today he wasn't quite effectively wild. There's
Attacking
times,
too much of the zone.
Yeah, he threw. I don't want to say he threw too many strikes, but he was attacking the zone in a way where he was letting them hit the ball more. The Blue Jays hit strikes, and they don't miss when there's in the strike zone. And if he leaves one hanging, they're not going to leave it. They're going to hit it. That team swings the bat.
Oh, yeah. I was just going to come out and say it. He threw too many strikes.
Yeah, it's kind of
weird. Which sounds weird, but yeah, dude. They're going to hit those strikes. Then the second thing that went wrong was Paul Sewald came in and gave up even more runs.
It was a 4 spot for Sewald.
That was an awkward spot.
And it wasn't even big hits. He hit a batter with the bases loaded.
Yeah.
Pass ball.
It was an 0-2 count too when he hit that guy with the bases loaded. That's brutal.
Come on, man.
And you could watch it. His release point was off. He was throwing way too wide and shit was sailing to the right. So it was a right-handed hitter. Yeah. That he hit because it was just drifting off to the right. His release point was messed up.
To be fair to Sewald, though, he pitched in the 5th inning. You don't see that a lot from him, man.
And that is a big issue I have with Scott's decision to put Paul Sewald in that situation, because it is very well known that late inning relievers, closers, or even a setup man in the 8th, they are very mentally temperamental. It comes with the territory of being a late inning reliever. And it's been proven time and time again throughout the history of baseball. If you take a closer and put him in a non-save situation, more often than not, they choke because it's not the same type of scenario that they're used to. And they just proved it again today. I think using Paul Sewald in the 5th was a terrible decision, and it showed. And, there's a bunch of different variables that go on with that, but it was a very questionable decision that I don't agree with. And I think it's the biggest bullpen mess up that Service has made in quite some time, but it was a big mistake.
Yeah, I remember when it flashed back on the TV and it shows the pitcher warming up before the inning and everything's going on and they show the score. And I was like, wait. Brash came in for a couple outs or whatever, and is that Sewald? I was like, that looks like Dad. Why is Dad out on the mound in the 5th? Why keep Brash in there? Let him roll a little bit. We're behind 4 runs. I don't. Seawald was such an awkward move. I think we had a lot more depth before we got to Seawald and put him in such a weird spot. I think he even felt awkward. You could see it from the get-go.
Right. But then, I mean, after, Robbie Ray came in, screwed it up. Brash came in to save his ass. Then they put Seawald in, who made it worse. Now it's 8-1.
Yeah.
What the hell are we going to do? And then what the
Devastating.
hell did we do?
We talked about the problems in the first half. Let's talk about the good things that happened in the second half that caused the Mariners to win the game. First, no quit in the team. That's the
Fight.
biggest thing.
So
the
much
fight,
fight.
the heart and soul of this team, and everyone stepping up. Everyone produced today. You know, you weren't relying totally on Suarez or Julio or even France. I mean, Frazier, JP, like all
Dylan
of those
Moore
guys.
worked a
Dylan
good
Moore,
walk in a
yep.
big spot.
Yeah, I mean, huge moments. And this is what separates teams apart. This is from the teams that fizzle out or kind of had a good season to the teams that can advance in the postseason. And it's the next guy up, stepping up and producing. And that's what happened today. And the Mariners really needed all the mojo in the world to come back and win this. And that's what happened.
So we had the bases loaded after they pulled Gossman, who has a nasty pitch he was throwing all day.
Oh, God, we were
could
talking about
not hit
service.
his splitter.
We were talking about Service making bullpen mistakes.
Oh.
How about the Blue Jays with their
Man. Dude,
pulling Gossman?
when they pulled Gossman and then the bases were loaded and JP hit that little bloop to center field.
Oh, that ended up in a gnarly collision between
Bo Bichette.
Bichette and George Springer.
Yeah.
Oh,
That was brutal. That was
It was
scary.
nasty.
It was scary, man.
And
he got
like-
carted off. He seems
obviously
okay.
we're
but
celebrating 3 runs just scored, but at the same time, in the back of my mind, I'm like, oh, God.
And like
Yeah.
I hate George Springer.
I like Bichette though.
I do
I like
like
Bichette,
Bichette
too.
But
Same.
also you never want to no matter how much you hate a player, you never want to see someone get injured, and to have a situation like that, it was scary and it sucked, and I'm glad that everyone seems to be okay. It wasn't a serious enough injury, which kind of makes us celebrating it a little bit more easy because no one was seriously hurt. No one tore an ACL or like broke a bone. So we
Right.
can just
we
be
love
happy.
to celebrate that George Springer got 3 strikeouts today. That's
Yeah.
amazing.
Hell yeah.
I don't really want to see the guy get into a collision in the outfield. That's super scary, and then get carted off. That sucks.
He was concussed.
Not what
for
we're hoping
sure.
for. But it resulted in a 3-run bloop by JP.
Just,
So
I mean, and the thing is, in that situation, it's not like anyone did anything wrong. It was in no man's land. You have center field crashing hard. You have shortstop running out. And honestly, they didn't collide on the ball had fallen and they were both kind of sliding towards it. And that's where they collided. And it was definitely a scary moment. But the fact that everyone appears to be okay, we can really be happy. And it was a big benefit to the Mariners offense today.
and we can pinpoint that as a part of the game that really turned everything around for the Mariners. That's exactly when the momentum shifted. And the comeback started right there.
Well, I was going to say, along with that, also Santana's mammoth 3-run home run.
my
Well,
God.
he almost,
Santana.
honestly, he could have had 2 home runs. That first home run that happened, or it was
Right
a
off the top
double
of the
off
wall.
the wall.
Yep.
It looked like it cleared the fencing to me, but they ruled it a double. But still, he was seeing the ball well. And again, another guy whose praises we've sung all year, Santana, coming over here, being a huge benefit to the team. And he turned up today.
Cool, calm, collected Santana, putting the barrel on the ball every at bat. The last at bat, he pulled his hammy under his butt there.
Oh,
and
yeah, I hope he's okay.
He even toughed out the at bat and took a couple more hacks just to I said, go for it, man. Just go big, whatever. If you're hurt, we had a couple days off, and we'll see how you're feeling by the next series. But just take a couple hacks right now with dudes on base. Come on.
Also, if
You're
he's
hot.
hurt, you don't have to run if you just hit bombs.
That's, what I'm
That's
saying.
true.
He was
Kurt,
trying to
Kurt
send it.
Gibson it.
Right? Walk out there with some newborn deer legs just shaking and can barely stand. Cranks.
How about Frazier ripping that double down the line?
Honestly, Frazier had he had 3 hits today. He could have had 4. Bo Bichette robbed him on that first one. Another
play.
great play by Bo Bichette.
Yeah,
getting
bullet
up
right
there
to him.
and robbing a potential double to the gap. It was kind of going towards like left center, and Bo Bichette got up there and made a really nice catch. But Frazier he almost had a 4-for-4 day. Oh man, coming through clutch. And we've been kind of iffy on Frazier throughout the season.
At times.
Mainly our issues were with his defense.
Yeah, that was
it
a
was
big
more
thing.
defense.
Yeah.
And we could tell that like his bat was starting to come around near the halfway point of the season.
When his mom said that it would be okay, we knew it'd be okay.
But like having him come in today, and again, this is the type of moves that the Mariners have made to bolster their team. And, you know, it doesn't have to be an everyday thing, but the fact that Frazier was an off-season acquisition and now he comes up big in the playoffs with one of the biggest games that he's had in the entire season and just really came through clutch. Game-winning RBI in the double down the right field line to score Cal.
Not to mention solid defense.
Yes.
Was Frazier's double on the anniversary of Edgar's double?
Yes, sir, it was.
That's wild.
Yeah, they showed it on the
crazy.
broadcast just after it happened too, and I was like, no way they're like putting this up, and I was like, oh, it's the same day? Like, that's insane, dude. How? That's destiny or some shit.
Just baseball gods shining on the Mariners, dude. That's all that
Absolutely.
is.
Thank you, baseball gods.
Another thing, this cannot be understated. How about rookie George Kirby, starting pitcher George Kirby, getting put in for the save situation in a 1-run ball game in the bottom of the 9th, and he closes it out. That is mind-blowing. I cannot believe that happened.
Ice in his veins, bro.
Cold-blooded.
He looked like
Cold-hearted Kirby.
he looked like he could puke, but also he was focused as fuck. Like he
God.
was zoned in. He threw 99. He was maxing out because he could throw few pitches and just get the most out of everyone. And he was dancing around the zone, but not necessarily in the zone. And that was perfect, man. Effectively wild, like Ray could have been.
Yes, exactly. I was listening to the radio broadcast, and they were saying, I think it was like Shannon Dreyer asked him, like, how do you prepare for something like this? And he's like, give me like 16 pitches. I'll be ready.
Yeah, man.
And he took a couple warm-ups and just got out there and got it done.
He knows how to get in the zone.
It's so mind-blowing because, again, playoff experience matters a lot in, like, dealing with the kind of beast that is postseason baseball. And for him to be a rookie and just cast into a situation that, honestly, you would think it would be unfair to put a rookie in that type of situation. Like, if you heard about a manager doing it, you might be like, why would you do that to someone? And the fact that it ended up being the right call, ice in his veins, and shut it down, like, that is insane and crazy.
I feel like we've seen it happen in prior playoffs where like AAA guys get called up just because they're blowing hundos and like they have huge momentum and they come up and just shock the whole world. But it doesn't happen often. That was kind of when the rosters were more expanded for the playoffs.
Right, they could have thrown Eric Swanson in there, which seemed like a natural thing to do, you know?
Especially with using Sewald in the 5th, like
Sure.
maybe use Swanson in that late, and to go with Kirby, like on paper it makes no sense. Why would you pick someone that has not been a reliever? He's been a 5th starter throughout the season, and he's a rookie. Why?
You just pick the best dude at this point.
I mean, I guess,
the
but
playoffs
still, like
are a different animal. You know what I mean? Like
I think it's his slider game, honestly. That's why they did it. He was about to see a few right-handed batters, and
he
his
blows
slider is
99.
no joke. And, yeah, I mean, he was ready. He warmed up, and he was like, put me in. I can do this. He fucking went in there, man. A rookie. Saved it.
It's crazy.
Kirby was awesome, and we'll see him start a game in the 5-game series for
I'm
sure.
here for it.
Do you guys think like the first game's on Tuesday against Houston in Houston? Do you guys think we'll pitch Luis Castillo on 4 days rest or start Gilbert or Kirby for that game?
I know Kirby's not going to get the start just because it wouldn't really make sense to have your rookie start off the series. I don't think. I think it could possibly be Gilbert. It would make more sense for it to be Gilbert and then Castillo. You're probably best off starting Logan Gilbert. He would have started on Sunday. Now the game isn't happening because the Mariners swept the Blue Jays. So I could see them essentially going with Gilbert to start the first game of the series and then resetting their pitching rotation. So you would go Gilbert, Castillo, and then Ray, and then Kirby, Marco at the end.
Yeah, that sounds right to me. I
could
heard
see that.
something about DePoto kind of hinting towards starting Logan Gilbert in Game 1 versus the Astros. Doesn't sound super official, but, I mean, he's got a couple of days to figure it out, so we'll see. But
And they'll figure it out. Also, we should probably discuss the Mariners' problems with the Astros. It's no secret that the Astros have had the Mariners' number. They have routinely
Beating our asses.
kicked the living shit out of the Mariners for the last few years. There was that one, was it 2 years ago? The Mariners played the Astros like 22 times throughout the season and won one game against them. It was just brutal. Obviously, this squad is a lot better, but even this year, the first half of the season, the Astros still carried over the whoop into the Mariners. We beat them a couple of times. They did piece up. The Mariners did piece up Justin Verlander one time at home. That was nice. Taylor Trammell, Kyle Lewis all hit home runs. It was a very good game. Kyle Lewis. Yeah, when Kyle Lewis was on a major league roster.
That guy.
I've thought about Kellenic more recently than I've thought about Kyle Lewis.
Yeah, Kyle Lewis is lost in the ether.
I've seen some questions on the internet, around the internet too, like, where's Kyle Lewis? Because the Mariners are doing it, but where is he at? Especially around, like, the baseball cards community. They're like, wait, Kyle Lewis was a guy, but Taylor Trammell? you know? So it's a weird question, but, Kyle fell off his knees or held together with duct tape, and we couldn't let him keep riding.
And he has that Rookie of the Year tag on him, so that's why people want to pay attention when Taylor Trammell is honestly a better player right now as it stands.
I agree. Also, Kyle Lewis's like mental strength for the game is held together with Scotch tape.
Yeah, we'll see where he ends up being. I think he can really regroup and do it. I don't want to have such a dismal approach to his future, but yeah, this year it just hasn't panned out, and he's just not really in the scope.
Oh, and I'll say, speaking of someone making us eat our words, we're known to be wrong a time or two, and that's okay.
No, it's never happened.
Never
once in the
missed.
history of this show have we been wrong about anything. Owen.
But Jared Kelenic coming back, getting it done. Who knows? I mean, maybe Kyle Lewis could do the same at some point, but Kelenic has really turned it around. But Kelenic also has more drive than Kyle Lewis. He has the heart. Even when he was getting flustered and like kind of being detrimental to the team with his attitude, he still showed up. He still worked hard, where Kyle Lewis started phoning it in. And so, maybe Kyle Lewis could make us eat our words like Kelenic has, but I don't see it happening. But again, love to be proven wrong.
Kellenic also looks great in left field. So much better than Winker.
Oh, my God. He made a great play today. I mean, just a routine single. It's not going to show up anywhere in the box score about how great this play was, but he turned an easy double into a single by just taking the correct route and spinning and throwing with fire right to second. That's not a play that's going to, make the ESPN top 10. It's not going to be really talked about. But those are the simple little things that make a difference. And, hats off, hell of a play.
On that play, you can talk about the jump he gets off the hit initially, his sprint speed, and then able to backhand a ball, inverse power step, and make a bullet throw to second base is like, that's how many tools, you know what I mean? That shows his value, absolutely.
100%. And we talked before about how left field has essentially been a black hole for us. And, Kellenic's not going to be in center. as long as Julio Rodriguez is on this team for the next 15 years.
I think we expected him to be a corner outfielder, though.
Yeah, I mean,
Yeah.
because he was playing center when he first got called up before Julio, because he made his debut before Julio did. So he was the center fielder, and it just, I mean, as soon as Julio took that spot, it's a wrap. Of course, Julio is going to be your everyday center fielder. So it's nice to now have him in a corner spot.
Hard to talk about in this exciting moment, but Mitch Haniger is a free agent at the end of this year, so Kelenic would fill in a great in right field if Haniger walks.
I don't think he will.
That's entirely on the Mariners front office,
Yeah.
honestly, whether Haniger comes back or not.
Bring him back.
Yeah, I would like it,
You have
but
to pay him
also
well.
I wouldn't necessarily beef with an outfield with Kelenic in right and Trammell in left. I
I'd
could
switch him.
And we have Winker.
You would switch them?
I'd go Kelenic in left, Trammell in right.
I think Kelenic has a stronger arm,
Yeah.
which you kind of would need
You
in
want in
right
right.
field. So I would go Kelenic in right. But again, this is all future
Oh, yeah.
topics and stuff. But yeah,
But that wouldn't be a bad outfield. You're right.
Did you guys see the Mariners watch party at T-Mobile Park and their rally shoes they were putting on their head today?
No. I'm all radio on this one.
Yeah, well, they were doing that.
Okay.
And they were
Tell
putting
me
their
about it, 'cause
shoes on
I
top
haven't heard
of
about
their
this at
head.
all.
So every once in a while in the broadcast, they'd show a shot of T-Mobile Park, and every time there's like something exciting going on, the rally, they would be taking off their shoes and putting them on their head like that's their rally cap. So it was like rally shoes. I don't know what was going on. We're getting weird up there, dude. It's fucking cool.
we haven't been to the playoffs in 20 years. We don't know how to celebrate properly. We don't know what to do. We just start taking our shoes off and shit. Like,
What do I do with my hands?
Yeah.
I don't know.
but also, you know what they say? If it's stupid but it works, it's not stupid. So it worked.
I had a coworker today who did have the game running, or he was watching the game on his phone at work. Managers, don't listen to this. But they were shots of, in the ninth inning, all the Blue Jays fans with their rally caps. And I heard multiple people walk by and be like, it doesn't work in Canada. You can't rally cap in Canada.
Dude, I can't believe the Mariners made it to the DS, the divisional series once again, the first time since 2001 when there was no wild card. What was there a wild card then?
There
I
was
don't
a
One
know.
wild
game
card.
wild card, not a.
It was all
three-game
one
How
game.
did
series.
it all work then? I don't even remember.
We
I was
don't know
11,
because we
dude.
haven't done this. This is all brand new to us.
I have my shoes on my head right now. I don't know what's going on.
Don't ask me how the playoffs work.
I just got to say that I do like that the wild card has been expanded to a series rather than a one game everything at once coin flip.
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
so much better. I do want to mention too, even if we didn't have this new 12-team format, the Mariners still would have made the playoffs. So
It would have been the Rays that were bumped out.
yeah, dude.
They're
Oh.
for real.
Yeah, sorry. I just had a funny little sidebar I saw on Twitter. After Seawald got that fourth win, I guess in July when we swept him at home, and he did a little broom motion. A couple of days ago, one of their bullpen pitchers on the Jays, Anthony Bass, posted on Twitter. He's like, "We're ready for you. The six is ready." And then
Ooh.
the after-game stats came out, and he did not record an out and gave up 3 runs.
He got
And
lit up.
people are
Perfect.
I was
people
like,
are like-
who's Bass?
People
Fuck
are roasting him
Bass.
on
Let's
Twitter,
go.
and he had to deactivate his account.
No.
Yeah, he got done like that.
Oh, that's the ultimate L.
Boot off the internet. Sorry, Bass.
So,
man.
as we're going into this Astros series, and we touched on how they have had our number in the past, what are the kind of things that the Mariners need to do to win this series? Because it is winnable. It is possible. This team still has the fight. They have a lot of heart, and they're a lot better team than when they faced the Astros earlier in the season. So, what do you guys think what are the moving pieces that they need to win this series against the Astros?
The Mariners need to stay true to what they have, their strengths. They play great defense. when they're at their best, they're patient and they search for the pitch. Like they're looking for the pitch to do the damage on. They try to go yard, you know. They're not necessarily playing small ball, but they're looking to walk and hit a homer a lot of times. We need to stay true to that. And like Houston has great pitching. We need to make sure we're patient and get the pitches to hit. That's like, those are my two things, is like, look for your pitch, play great defense.
I was going to say the exact opposite. Really hammer home that small ball. That's what the Astros do to us. There's teams that play small ball against us, and those are the teams we have problems with. But, I mean, the Mariners do thrive in big situations, and playing the Astros in the playoffs is a huge situation. So, I mean, I have all the faith in the world that these guys can really get it done. I mean, okay. I'm not saying only focus on the small ball.
The run, like move the runner.
Yeah, exactly. That's what I'm talking
hit the
about.
ball the other way like Ty France.
Yeah, we can't rely
does
on
really
our
well.
home runs alone.
Do some bunting.
Do some bunting.
I'd
if
like
it comes
to see bunting.
Yeah, I would love to see some bunting.
I'll say our starters need to be strategic in where they put their pitches.
I like that.
The Astros, like however you slice it up, and I hate Bregman so much. They're all dangerous.
Yep.
It's just like we're in the playoffs now. I think it's pretty well known that every lineup is going to be dangerous. And I
100%.
think all of the Astros have the power to, hit doubles, triples, home runs, just little bloop hits. And so I don't want to, as much as I love watching Castillo and Ray on occasion blowing, powering it through and overpowering people's velocity, I think we need to flirt with the zone a little bit more, Don't attack, get them to chase, just keep it slow and calm and be very strategic in where you put the ball. I don't want to see 100 miles an hour down the pipe because Bregman and Altuve will take that shit for a ride.
That's what I'm worried about with Robbie.
Mm-hmm.
That's a great take. I agree 100% with that.
I think so. It's such a fine line because, yes, you want the Mariners to be patient, but Astros, and this is from a hitting standpoint, like being patient at the plate and waiting for your pitch and working the zone, which the Mariners do really well. However, Astros pitchers are all dominant. So if you're trying to be patient, before you know it, you're down 0-2 in the count, like right away, because they're going to attack the zone as well, and they have movement and stuff. And it's where you find that weird balance of being aggressive early in the count, but also not swinging yourself into early outs. And that's going to be a huge problem for the Mariners just because their pitching is so good that it's like, do you want to be aggressive early and then risk? Now you've grounded out. Now you're 2 outs on 5 pitches, and now their starter can go deeper into the game. Or do you wait and try to work the count, but now you're down 0-2. Now you're swinging at shit you normally wouldn't swing at. So that's going to be a big issue, and that I don't have the answer for that. It's just going to have to be with the Mariners probably protecting early in counts and being able to put the ball in play in late in the counts. And then another thing that I believe will be hugely beneficial for the Mariners in beating the Astros is their base running. They've been great at base running this year with stolen bases, being aggressive, and I think it's those kind of things, just little first to thirds on balls to right field, stuff like that will really make a difference in a playoff series against a team as dominant as the Astros are.
Yeah, taking the extra bags really is a big deal. Like, if we go from first to third as often as we can, if we send that runner from third to home as often as we can, we're trying to force them to make the play, right? Like, we're trying to put the pressure on, and the Braves kind of did that last year. Like, Ron Washington was just like, green light, go. They have to throw and catch the ball with the pressure on, you know what I mean? And the Astros have been there, done that, but the Mariners are the type of team that I think maybe should take that extra bag as often as they can just to see what they can do for like going 100% against this team. Make them make the play because here we are. Like the AL West is up for grabs now.
And I agree with that 100%, especially the putting the pressure. It's more pressure on the fielder to make a throw to home to get the runner out more than the runner running home. However, again with the Astros, they all have playoff experience. This is not
Tons.
This is not new to them. They've won a World Series by cheating, and they've been in the playoffs. They know what they're doing. The pressure is not going to be too big for them. So it's going to be really important that this young Mariners core keeps their heads about them, plays the game that has got them to where they're at right now, and just be aggressive and keep the train moving.
The way the Mariners have momentum right now is huge. Like, we have the best chance to beat this team than we have in a long time.
Isn't that crazy?
Yeah.
In a playoff series, 5-game series.
Yeah, it's 5 now too. So
We got our ass kicked by them all season, early season. We
You're
didn't
right.
see them after July. Like,
Yeah.
we're a whole different team. We took off since July.
The Astros haven't seen these Mariners.
No, I mean, they've seen them from afar, but we do have to contend with Justin Verlander, Framber Valdez. They have Lance McCullers Jr. back. They have Luis Garcia is even okay. Like, they have dudes that are no joke. And like Patrick was saying, the Mariners have to be patient. When they get in the hole 0-2, it's not good. It's not good. We really need to make sure they throw us those first pitch strikes.
No disrespect to the Mariners or anything like that, but I mean, we won a lot of our games in July and August, and I don't think we ever came within 10 games of taking the division leader away from them. They've been cruising through their schedule, and so it's got to be a little. They might not have seen us since when we were down in the dumps, but they've been elevating like crazy.
also, I will say this series coming up is bigger than the Mariners versus Yankees in 95. I believe this upcoming series with the Astros is the biggest series the Mariners have ever had. Bigger than the Yankees in 95, bigger than anything. This upcoming series is literally the highest leverage series the Mariners have ever played. And it's going to be intense. It's going to be wild. And honestly, being realistic, let's say the Mariners lose the series and get eliminated, there's nothing to hang your head about. This season has been amazing. And honestly, if we can beat the Astros or take a couple games from the Astros, it just goes to show that the Mariners are for real. We're here to stay, and we're going to be threatening on the Astros' doorstep next season as well.
Talk about nothing to hang your head on. We're excited to get into the first game of the playoffs in the wild card. Getting this far is not in the plan.
Yeah, we just wanted to qualify, and now here we are up and playing
Competing.
Houston. Yeah.
It's in my
Come
plan.
on.
At least, I mean, I guess I'm more optimistic, but it was in my plan. I was like, the plan is, the plan for me, the goal for me is to bring a game to Seattle.
Oh, okay.
And
That's huge.
did that by getting through the wild card series.
Yeah, we got a guaranteed game at home.
So
I'll be
now I can say at least the Mariners did this, but I'm still hungry. I'm still optimistic. This is like a coin flip or 60-40 type thing for me where we're close. We match up with those guys. We're no joke.
Can we just pour one out for all the homies in Toronto who had to watch their team implode today and get swept at home in a wild card?
I was thinking, imagine if that situation was flipped. Imagine if it was the Mariners who lost at home.
They take the first wild card spot. They get the home game.
Yeah, and
you get dicked.
I know. You get shut out game 1 and then just piss away a massive lead in game 2.
10-9.
Oh, my God.
Fucking feels bad, man. But
Yeah.
hey,
Chaos.
Respect
glad we're
Blue
not on
Jays
that
fans.
side. Yeah. No, nothing against Blue Jays fans. They're hardcore over there.
Yeah, that would be hard to deal with.
I don't want to be that, though. And we're not right now, so fuck them.
Yeah. No, Blue Jays fans have been coming down to Seattle forever, and they get rowdy and whatever, and they get loud. They try to compete with us because it's fun.
They're
I know
good fans.
A lot of BC people or residents come down to Seattle because it's hard to go to Toronto for them even. So they come see their Blue Jays in Seattle because it's closer and it's nice for them to get a vacation. And I always enjoyed that, but suck it, suck it.
Yeah, for sure.
So we've got the Mariners advancing, and the Rays just got eliminated today. And it was kind of funny how we were talking like, oh, should the Mariners go against the Guardians rather than the Blue Jays? And da-da-da-da. Ended up working out just fine for the Mariners. And the Rays had to go into the hype train that is the Cleveland Guardians right now.
Also, yeah, what an embarrassment for the Rays. Nate hopping in here for a guest spot real quick.
What's up, Nate?
What's up, Nate?
Thank you. Thank you. Yeah, I saw a bunch of stuff on Twitter like leading up to us clinching the playoffs, people saying, oh, the Mariners are going to be frauds. They're only going to make it in because of the expanded playoffs. And then it turns out, nope, we're for real. The Rays were frauds. They made it in only because of an extra playoff team and then got swept by the Guardians in 2 games. They scored 1 run in 24 innings of baseball against Cleveland. So I don't know who's laughing now.
Mariners fans.
Yeah, dude, the Rays choked. There were 2 really low-scoring affairs. 1-0 yesterday in the first game of the wild card, and then today it went how many? 15?
15 innings.
Until Oscar hit a walk-off homer, and the Guardians moving on. They got that young blood, that young energy. They're moving on, and it's exciting to see. I want to see what they can do against the Yanks because they have a lot of holes in their lineup, and I want to see if this energy can overwhelm their stoic presence.
In other news, the Mets led their division the whole season, and then it came down to a series against the Braves, and they got swept and choked and made it into the wild card. And then they got their ass beat the first game by the Padres, I think.
Yeah.
The Mets did manage to win today. So they do have a game 3 going on, but still, talk about an all-time epic collapse.
Choke artists.
Dude, with DeGrom on the mound, they better have won today. You know what I mean? With their backs against the wall, and they did.
They were running that division up until about a week ago.
Yeah, and I mean, props to the Braves. Also, I saw the Braves was the only team, they did not get swept once the entire season. So, I mean,
That's
they
crazy.
lost series and stuff, but they did not get swept a single time and just battled back and overtook the Mets during the last week of the season. And now the Mets have their back against the wall. Talk about like riding high and then just collapsing. Like
They're on the ropes.
Mm-hmm.
The Braves have that clubhouse culture. They just keep rolling. They don't slow down. Things happen. They just keep rolling. They don't stop. And the Mets, they have drama. They're New York drama. They've always been. They changed ownership. They have new players. They got Scherzer, but like things are still as Metsy as they getsy.
Get out of here. Take a lap. So along with the rest of the league and stuff, we have Albert Pujols, who played his final game, which is really sad. An illustrious career. 703 home runs, ended up passing Babe Ruth on the all-time RBIs list. Woo! It sucks that his season is over, but man, what a career. His very last at-bat in his career was also a base hit. Got a single to end it out. So big shout-outs to Albert Pujols. Wish him the best in his retirement. And what an amazing first ballot Hall of Famer. Great career.
Albert.
Love you,
Give
Albert
it up for
Pujols.
Albert.
King Albert.
And then also around the league, we'll kind of wrap this up with Aaron Judge hitting the all-time American League home run record with 62 home runs. There's a huge debate going on whether he should be recognized as the single-season home run champion or if it should go to Barry Bonds, who does hold the record at 73 home runs, but he was using steroids. So kind of just a round table of like, where do you think it stands in the record books? What are your guys' opinion on that?
It's our CS guys to end the episode.
Yeah.
Yeah. I guess I'll go first. I would like Bonds and Sosa and McGuire to not count. I like Judge for it. And it's cool that they all hit more home runs than him, but they like took active measures to promote themselves against their competition. Like people, I've seen comparisons. They're like, how can you compare like Judge to Maris? Judge is like 8 feet tall and like 195 pounds, and Maris, I think, was like under 6 feet. He was like a little guy, I'm pretty sure.
Short lives matter.
Most dudes were then.
Right. And it's like Judge didn't, take an injection, as far as we know, to grow, but Bonds and them, they were sticking needles in their asses so they could hit balls like 500 feet. And
Yeah,
so
they obviously got all juiced up, but it's still, it takes some talent to hit home runs. I think when the best players get huge, it's kind of like, would they have hit a lot of home runs? Yeah. But how many would they have hit if they hadn't have like taken those performance enhancing drugs to get absolutely juiced up and mash balls that are like off the label over the fence, you know what I mean?
I was going to say, so Owen, you believe that Aaron Judge is the home run?
No, right now Bonds is.
No, but I'm saying, like, in your personal opinion,
that's not what you said. You said that.
No, I would prefer if they didn't count people who were like admitted to.
So
using
then Aaron
PED.
Judge would be the.
Yeah.
Okay.
So I'm gonna differ on this because honestly, in that era of baseball, I mean, it's literally called the steroid era. And it's not just that there was one or two guys juicing. Everyone was juicing at that time. It was what was putting people in the seats, and baseball promoted it. You think they didn't know why Barry Bonds' head grew 4 sizes, and he's covered in back knee? You think that is just some random coincidence? Baseball knew what was happening, and it was just the way the game was played. And so, yeah, I can see, some people want an asterisk next to it or whatever, but I personally believe that despite the steroid use, it was just that era of baseball, and Barry Bonds hit those home runs. And I think, as cool as it was that Judge did, Barry Bonds is the all-time single-season home run leader. Also, this is kind of weird when you think about it. There was that home run race between Barry Bonds, Mark McGwire, and Sammy Sosa. All 3 of them in the National League. All of them, their first initial was the same as their last initial. Which is just, it doesn't mean anything, but that's just kind of weird.
BBSS, bro.
Weird,
Yeah.
dude.
Barry Bonds, Mark McGwire, Twilight Zone. But it was just a very weird time in baseball. But that was just part of history. And I believe that Barry Bonds is the single-season home run champion.
Yeah, what happened, right? You can't dispute that a person hit that many home runs. It's kind of like you have to let it breathe. So when we were younger and watching these home run races, they were exciting, of course. Did we know as kids that they were getting so jacked that it was unreal?
We just thought people
No.
looked like cartoon characters
Big
back then.
Mac, dude. Big Mac was sponsored by McDonald's. As kids, we didn't realize the scope of the problem in baseball. We just were trying to enjoy baseball. And like Patrick says, it's now 20 years, 30 years later, it's the steroid era. It's obvious who was doing these things. Brett Boone. Dude, look at Brett Boone. That dude's not boosting that many home runs if he's not taking steroids. But either way, the home run king, it's hard to say. I can appreciate every dude who mashed that many home runs, regardless of their era, and I can take in the scope and culture around the game in every era that those dudes hit those home runs. And I love that Aaron Judge did that this year. That was so awesome. He's mashing, and I hope he keeps it up.
Okay. I think Aaron Judge is the home run champion. Now, I might be one of those people who you would say, yeah, I put an asterisk next to Barry Bonds, Mark McGwire, Sammy Sosa. Because, I mean, okay, let's look at what happens in baseball, all the scandals, all the things that will exclude somebody from being something, whether you make the Hall of Fame or you get the credit for being the guy with the most home runs. Okay, maybe not a technical asterisk next to their name, but we all know the steroid era. It's talked about. Look at Pete Rose. We all know what he did.
Gambled.
Yeah, and that's keeping him from achieving a certain thing.
Had the most hits in baseball.
But as a baseball fan, we know that.
Mm-hmm.
That's ingrained. Now, on paper, Aaron Judge is the home run champion.
No,
You know-
on paper, Barry Bonds is.
Of the American League and the
Of
New
the-
Well, I guess I
York
wouldn't say on
Yankees.
paper, on Fangraphs or Baseball Reference. He gets that golden box, you know, that high achievement. But then as baseball fans, we know there's a part of baseball that happened. There's all these guys juicing and everything, and we know that. But as far as it should be recorded in history, Aaron Judge gets it.
I mean, to your credit, Matt, watching them was cool, but like, how can we like keep that stat if the people trying to break it, that record, you know that there's already a difference between them. One's taking steroids and one are clean. Like how it's just like an extreme like outside advantage, right? I don't know how, like, what's the point of records if now they can't even act like all those PEDs are banned, right? They can't take them. They're going to get suspended, 4
They'll
or 5
get
months.
Tatised.
I don't know why do we keep, I just don't understand why we keep that record standing if, like, nobody can elevate themselves to match what Bonds was doing to, like, break that record.
Yeah,
That is a good point. I do like that point.
but those records stand because the thing happened. Just like statues stand because wars were fought and statues were built of dudes and people tear those down, right?
Like in the
Think
South,
about the
yeah.
reputation. Think about the reputation of those guys now. They've been destroyed. People have been desecrating those statues forever, meaning the reputations of those players who have juiced. Like, it's all about how baseball fans as a society think, right? And, like, you have to bring it down to an individual level of, like, how do you recognize and keep in mind that that's just how it was. The thing happened. That's how it was. We have to keep in mind that those inflated numbers are equal to, and it's all subjective. Like, they're equal to what? Judge's 62 is equal to Bonds' 73? In some people's eyes, yeah. Some people's eyes, better. Because would Bonds have hit 73 being the way he would have been naturally? We don't know.
There's just no way to know.
We don't know.
Exactly.
So, yeah, I mean, I equate Judge's 62 to Bonds' 73 because of the era difference. Because I, as a personal, like, fan of baseball, can, like, keep in mind the difference. I'm old enough and, like, have been through enough to see that those things equate each other now. They're both excellent performances.
But Owen's right. How do you keep that record? How do we show that? You just know it as a baseball fan.
Yeah.
Right?
You know it.
So on the record books, I mean, it's got to be Aaron Judge, right?
I mean, in the record books, it is still Barry Bonds.
Right.
Even though,
I'm just saying. But what you were saying about Tatis and stuff, right now he's kind of under the gun for all these PEDs and stuff. But he didn't break any records while he was on PEDs. If he goes on to break records after this, then what do we do? Then fuck it. Then it doesn't matter. He can still be that guy as long as he stays clean the rest of his career, So how deep does it get? Like, okay, let's take any random Joe. I'm going to make up a name so we don't have to call anybody out. But fucking John Smith did take PEDs sometime in his career, but he has this record. I don't know, most RBIs in a season, or career or something. Yeah, career. Most RBIs in his career. Do you take that away from him because of 1 year in 1994?
Where he was taking PEDs.
Yeah,
and got
that-
like way
at
more
least
on
when he got
average.
busted.
Right. So, I mean, how do you weigh this? This is super complicated when you really dig that level of deep,
well, I'm going to say also nowadays in baseball, I mean, getting popped for PEDs is pretty much a death sentence. Like, Tatis's career will never be the same. It doesn't matter how well he does later on or whatever. That stigma of getting popped will always carry over him, no matter what. Like, let's say he comes back and he puts up a Hall of Fame-esque career. There's a very real chance he will not get inducted into the Hall of Fame because of his PED use. And this is kind of funny. There's only one player that I know off the top that has been popped for PEDs, but he's so lovable and so cuddly that no one beefs with him, and it's Nelson Cruz.
Let's go.
Nelson Cruz got popped for PEDs, and no one gives a shit, which is fine. He's deserved it because he's such an awesome dude.
Yeah.
But, like, look at someone like Robinson Cano. Got popped 2 different times.
And then got traded immediately.
Yeah,
to the Mets.
no one gives a fuck about Robinson Cano anymore.
And he was a Yankee. It's easier to hate a Yankee than a Nelson Cruz who actually turns his shit around and becomes a lovable dude and just mashes.
I just want to point out, D. Gordon got popped for PED. He's my favorite player of all time.
That's true too. Yeah. That's
Turns out he
crazy.
just didn't have a great career, so no one cares.
Yeah, exactly. Well, then you think about how many no-name minor leaguers have been popped and just washed out. I mean, nowadays, a PED getting popped is essentially a death sentence in MLB. It affects your career. It affects your future contracts. I mean, the steroid era is done. But the steroid era was a thing, and Barry Bonds was mashing bombs against pitchers also using steroids. I mean, everyone in the
not
game
a terrible
was
point.
So it was just the way the game was played. And yeah, in this day and age, and honestly, I would even go with Barry Bonds. If anything, I would put Aaron Judge with the asterisk.
Was not
Why?
on
Wait,
PEDs.
Was
what?
not on PEDs. You know what I'm saying? It was
That's
like
insane.
like
A red
it's just the
asterisk.
way the game has evolved and the game has changed.
There you go, Matt. One has a black asterisk, the other one has a red
Yeah,
asterisk.
the red one means
the red one
real
means clean.
record.
Yeah.
The black one means not. That's terrible. Fuck. It's just weird to think about. Like, it's just that anyone who looks those records up would have to know somehow, right? If you're looking up that
That's
record,
true.
you're gonna
When you're a
know that there's
baseball
a
fan and
scandal.
Yes, you know about the steroid era. You know about all
You'll
this.
read about it, you'll make your judgment, and you'll be a baseball fan that
Yeah,
has
you
an
make your
opinion
Aaron
about it.
judgment, and then you're a baseball fan.
Nice.
Aaron Judge is a true home run champion, and I appreciate him a lot. I hope he keeps
Yes.
mashing homers.
Me
Like,
too.
Can't say anything bad about him. I loved when Barry Bonds hit 73. I loved when Mack hit 70. And Sosa hit 66. It was wild. I was a kid. They were just mashing them. I was watching it in the newspaper. I was clipping newspaper.
I was watching
articles.
it in the newspaper.
Yeah, I was clipping newspaper articles. I still
Matt
have
is
some,
84
dude.
years old.
Hey,
I was
look,
listening on my ham radio.
extra.
Read all about it. Mary Bonds hit 71.
as much as you guys want
Matt
to
waddles
do this,
up with a nickel to buy that newspaper.
I have a newspaper.
Before he went to the malt shop and got himself a pizza
I
pie.
have a newspaper of the Kingdom being imploded, dude. Come on. I have a newspaper of the 2001 All-Star team. Come on. Give me a break. Ken Griffey Jr. hitting home runs. I have newspaper clippings. I'll bring them. We're going to put them on the pod. Come on.
Okay.
So, Aaron Judge, Barry Bonds, the discussion could go on forever. Got an upcoming series going on against the Astros. Be excited. Tell your friends. Watch the games. Tell everyone about us. Come share the news about how dope the Mariners are. Like, comment, subscribe, share. Cheer on the boys as we carry on this big season against the Astros. We've got a great team, and we've got a great series coming up.
Next episode, we're going to be deep into this divisional series, and we need our boys to get hyped. We're going to be fucking hyped.
We will.
We're hyped. We're excited.
fucking ready.
Everyone, let's go.
Go Mariners!